Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is News and Week in Review, where we're going to dive through a variety of news pieces, the various games I played, the videos of the past week, all of that and more, and of course timestamps to everything down below. Let's go ahead and start off, though, with a giveaway announcement. We have a giveaway currently running over on Instagram for Winds of Numenera, the board game. This is a giveaway for the deluxe edition of the game, as well as 3 copies of the graphic novel. Make sure to go ahead and check out my Instagram. I'll have a link in the comments down below, so you can go ahead and check that out, and enter yourself for a chance to win this deluxe game. That's going to be our Winds of Numenera giveaway. In the news category of things, we're going to start off with the big one, which is going to be 20 Strong. 20 Strong Nemesis specifically. The 20 Strong campaign is probably over by the time you watch this, but 20 Strong Nemesis will be coming in 2025, which seems to have been very, very pleasantly received by a lot of people who are very intrigued by this mashup between Chip Theory Games and Awakened Realms, which has Awakened Realms really done... I don't know if Awakened Realms has really done... No, they did the side quest. They did Nemesis side quest. So they have done collaborative stuff before. But Awakened Realms, together with Chip Theory Games, doing 20 Strong, makes you wonder what other things might be coming in the works over there. And for context, I don't actually know, but I'm curious what other things are coming in the works. We also have over here, we have Rival Restaurants, Sporks Edition, Sporks Out, the expansion. It's an expansion to Rival Restaurants from Gap Closer Games. It's going to be an upcoming game. We also have So You've Been Cursed over here. This is going to be from Scott Alms, continuing the legacy of So You've Been Eaten. It's So You've Been Cursed instead. They even have a note on the Board Game Geek page that it's a game for 0 to 2 players, but BGG Database does not support a player count of 0. I wonder why. I wonder why they don't support a player count of 0. But in So You've Been Eaten, they had two asymmetric, they had two different, what is it, okay. So You've Been Eaten was an asymmetric game with 2 different autonomas, and that meant that you could have those 2 autonomas playing against each other in a 0-player game. It looks like So You've Been Cursed is continuing that tradition, so we'll see how that one goes. We also have Wilmot's Warehouse coming to you from CMYK Games, the creators behind Monikers, as well as other games. Wavelength, which is very popular. Wilmot's Warehouse is going to be a cooperatively organizing the warehouse using memory, imagination, and silly stories you make up. I'm intrigued by it. I don't know much what to expect about this. They tend to make a little more gateway games, which is not inherently a problem. I love Monikers. Wavelength is always fun. The Fuzzy Fuzzy game I never actually played. That's going to be Wilmot's Warehouse from CMYK Games. We have the Spiel des Jahres taking home, we have Sky Team taking home the Spiel des Jahres for 2024. So congrats to the entire Sky Team, and as well as Hachette, and I guess Cosmos is distributing this one internationally. We also have over here, speaking of awards, we have the Board Game Revolution's Community Awards, named Hegemony as its Game of the Year. I talked about the Board Game Revolution Awards a week or 2 ago, including a link for you to go ahead and check them out, and possibly vote and all that. But in case you want to know more, Hegemony won the Game of the Year award from Board Game Revolution. We have over here the Wormhole from Orange Nebula. Orange Nebula opened up their Wormhole. They do these live stream events once or twice a year, I think, where they basically have their twice yearly events held on OrangeNebula.com, where we surprise drop new releases, make announcements, throw on discounts and freebies, and sometimes feature special items that are only available during this event. So this is their current Wormhole event that went live on July 23rd, and one of the things you can get in this one over here is new content for Unsettled. So if you are a fan of Unsettled, they have new content. We have some Board Game Co. promos over here, so we have these, you can check those out. We have the Crackle pair, we have the Man vs. Meeple, Dice Tower, all these different pairs over here, and then we have the Unsettled Planet over here. So we have Unsettled for Caliphos and Stranos, these are the old ones, but down over here, where are the new ones? Wait, there were new ones. Okay, one second. View all, no, not sales items. Here we go. Unsettled, Planet 10, Tawa, and Vorka over here. These are going to be currently available. The new planets for Unsettled. So if you want planets 10 and 11 for Unsettled, this is your chance to go ahead and check those out, which I did not know were coming. Oh, they have beanies. I don't know about beanies. I don't care about those. But I will say, the Unsettled, the Orange Nebula, not Unsettled, the Orange Nebula hoodie is by far my favorite hoodie from, well, not by far. The IV Games ones are pretty close. But it still is my favorite hoodie from all the hoodies I own, with the IV Games coming right behind it, and then after that, well, every other hoodie is secondary to those two. We have over here on Board Game Wire, we have Monumental. There's an update over on the Monumental crowdfunding campaign, the Monumental African Empires, but because that's their area over here, I'm going with the Board Game Wire, which is a bit more of a journalistic approach to it. But Monumental over here, they are nearing a deal to get FunForge, to get Monumental into players' hands. So they're nearing a deal, an acquisition deal. This whole article goes into it more and more. To those of you who are backers of Monumental, to which I'm included in that category, I backed Monumental African Empires. I was on the fence. I was going to not back it. And it's like, you know what? Let me go ahead and back it, which was I don't want to call it a mistake, because if I do get the game, I'll be happy with it. But until then, and they talk about how the games are currently in the warehouses already, so it's a lot. It's a lot. But if you want more information on your potentially, definitely overdue, but potentially to arrive Monumental African Empires, check out the Board Game Wire article. And then lastly, we have over here, the magic of tabletop crowdfunding is dying. This is an article put out by Charlie Thiel, who in general has fantastic work, by the way. But over on Polygon, he just has an article on the nature of crowdfunding and tabletop crowdfunding specifically, and the magic of it going away. Which I think the article is a bit... I think the article is a bit more than the way I would phrase it, and he goes into it. He's not talking about how it's dead. He's just saying that there was a charm to crowdfunding, there was an appeal, and a totally different landscape, and that landscape has changed over the years, which it certainly has. So I agree with his overall perception and take. I might be a drop less drastic, but I do think that the magic of tabletop crowdfunding definitely saw a bit of a road bump during COVID. During COVID, we just saw a major road bump as people had more and more issues, publishers had more and more issues, and we just ended up in a situation which has not been as overly positive for the space. So, that's the unfortunate reality of tabletop crowdfunding. And again, it's a worthwhile article. Tabletop crowdfunding is still in a very healthy space. There's still plenty of money in it. There's still plenty of campaigns. But some of the charm and magic has definitely shifted from where it used to be. That's everything we have over here, which means we're going to go ahead and close this up. We don't actually have a Board Game Geek Hotness review this week. Just as loosely going to talk about the fact that for the past month, I've gotten several people. I want to say, like, by now I've gotten 10 plus messages over the past month or so, both personal and in comments, just echoing that I seem tired or exhausted or pushing myself or that kind of general tone, which I don't disagree with. I don't think, I've talked about it in a few videos, but it's always worth mentioning here or there. The past month and a half have been incredibly hectic. The way I basically put it is I tried moving while doing all the same things that I usually do and traveling more to boot. And that was not a good decision. It was a decision, but it was not a good decision. And so, practically speaking, over the past 6 weeks, I have been pushing myself more than I possibly should. I would say as of a week, maybe, well, as of this past week, I think I finally returned to a state of normalcy where I'm not desperately feeling like I'm behind on 4 things all at the same time. Don't get me wrong. I have plenty to do. I always will have plenty to do, but that's the nature of taking on a job that you're passionate about and taking on projects that you're excited about. We'll talk more about it when we get into the games on the table situation, because there's still things I have to do this week and next week, and I have to plan for Gen Con and all these other things, but the reality is that I have shifted back into a space where I can breathe without worrying what that breath is going to cost me. In fact, I played Spider-Man on the PS4 for like 20 minutes today, which I haven't done something like that. I've been on, this year, 2024, I played a lot of video games this past year that I didn't in prior years. I played video games intermittently, but I played a lot more video games this year, at the beginning of the year, and I just haven't had time to play video games in the past 6 weeks or so. But I played video games for the first time today. Well, I played video games with my kids, but that's different. I'll always prioritize them. But video games for myself are fun. I haven't played video games in like 6 weeks, so it's been nice to actually sit down and just have enough room that I could play Spider-Man and not worry about what that time was costing me. But the short version is, yes, I have been pushing myself. I am fortunately not burnt out, at least as far as I can tell, but I definitely have had too much on my plate, and I am finally getting caught up, I think. I hope. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm feeling optimistic. That's what it comes down to. I'm feeling optimistic. Also, in completely unrelated news, this is completely unrelated. I've been meaning to mention this for the past several week in reviews. In general, my 2-back and knockbacks that go up every Monday, I'll regularly get comments about how the timestamps are wrong. And that's a YouTube issue that I haven't figured out how to fix. YouTube will sometimes preserve old timestamps from videos, even though you've changed them, and I haven't fully figured out how to stop that from happening. Usually you just have to go in, edit a timestamp, and save it, and then it fixes itself. But if you ever see the timestamps looking wrong, and in the description if it actually is wrong, I still have to fix it, make no mistake. The action item is still on me, but it is one of those random things where it's a YouTube issue, and I'm just trying to figure out how to save a video and have it actually save. That was completely random and unrelated, but I've been meaning to mention it, and I completely forgot to, and in the moment I remembered. Anyways, with that, we're going to go ahead and dive into the games I played. The games I played this past week, as usual, this is a small smattering of games I played, starting off with Wild Gardens. I played Wild Gardens in the solo mode. I need to still play it multiplayer, which I was hoping to play it that night or whatever, although I don't know when you're going to see the solo mode. The solo gameplay might go up in a few weeks, I don't know when, but I played it to both learn it, as well as, I filmed the gameplay, because why not? But past that, I enjoy Wild Gardens for the experience it gave me, but I need to play it multiplayer to see where it lands. I generally like Rose Gauntlet Entertainment's games so far. Well, actually, this is my second one I've played, so I can't say that authoritatively, but I liked it, I enjoyed it. I want to play it more players. I definitely will like it, there's no question over that. The only question is, where will it stand as far as how much will I enjoy it relative to, well, any other game I could play. I also played Dominion again, because Dominion is fantastic, and I love Dominion, and Dominion is a great game that I continuously dive into. The app has made it way too addicting and way too easy to play, so playing the physical copy is harder than it ever was before. but it's still a good game. It's still a very good game and worth playing. And then I pulled out The Loop. The Loop is one I haven't played in a while, and it's nice to table it again because it reminds you how much you like certain games. And The Loop is fantastic. From Pandasaurus Games, they've had a lineup of fantastic games this past year, or the past year and a half, 2 years really. And The Loop is one that is one of my favorite games. I think The Loop is amazing. I think it gives you an excellent cooperative experience. I think it gives you an excellent puzzle to solve. I really appreciate and enjoy The Loop, and I'm happy I got to table it this week. As far as the videos of the week, starting off with this past Saturday. This past Saturday we had a review for The Gang. I gave The Gang a 3.5 out of 4 3.5 out of 5 with the note that it almost was a 4. Like literally the theme is the difference between it being a 3.5 and a 4, but theme does matter in a game. Theme, components, art, those things matter. Ultimately, I enjoy The Gang. I do recommend it. I think it's very gateway friendly, and to that end, I think it's going to stick around because it's so easy to table with anyone, whether they've played games or not. Later on Saturday, I did a Mandalorian gameplay. This is a gameplay of the 3rd episode of The Mandalorian, just jumping straight in, so you can go ahead and get a feel or sense for how the game plays, if you want to check that out. On Sunday we had a Army of the Dead gameplay, Army of the Dead Zombicide gameplay. I will have a review coming for you shortly on that one, but the Army of the Dead game, shortly, when is it going up? Is it going up today? It might be going up today. I have to check when it's going up. It's going to be a busy week. Anyways, Army of the Dead gameplay, in case you want to check it out, I will say I was definitely more optimistic. I was not optimistic with the game, but it definitely delivered much more than I thought it would. Later on Sunday, Sunday is usually not a multiple video a day video, but I've been trying to get a bunch of videos in while they're still relevant, and so Sunday became a 3 video day, which it usually isn't. Later on Sunday, we had a Dodo's Riding Dino's First Race gameplay preview. For Dodo's Riding Dino's First Race preview, just giving you a quick overview of Dodo's Riding Dinos. That's a sponsored preview. And then lastly on Sunday, we had Foundations of Metropolis review, just going over the new game, the new version of the game, and the differences and all that stuff, in case you want to check out whether that is a game that's interesting to you, either because of the different theme or components or the price point, any of those factors in play. On Monday we had a 2-back and not-to-back going through a bunch of crowdfunding campaigns. On Tuesday we had a Dodo's Riding Dinos gameplay. This time, I think the gameplay went up on Tuesday. Later on Tuesday, we had a Survive Alive gameplay. This is a 2-player gameplay of a sponsored gameplay. In fact, both the Dodo's Riding Dinos and Survive Alive were sponsored gameplays. And then lastly, on Tuesday, we had a Winds of Numasera preview, a sponsored preview for Winds of Numasera, the board game. On Wednesday we had a few things. We had a Game Found and CMON conversation / apology / explanation. Long story short on this one is, doing the God of War campaign, I got more pushback on my coverage of God of War than I usually would get on a typical CMON issue. And whenever I get a different reaction to something, I try to be a little bit introspective about how I should take that, how I should approach that. It's a weird place when you have to try to figure out, because the practical reality is whenever you're talking about things, whenever you're talking to an audience of people that is more than 2, you're basically opening yourself up to multiple different opinions and conflicting opinions. And so the reality is, when you're going to be in any public forum, you can't react to every single person's dissenting opinion. You just can't. Because if you do that, you're always going to be just ricocheting back and forth from people who just won't be happy, because not everyone wants different things. People want different things. And so you can't react to any one person, even though there's a part of me that wants to adjust and tailor and cater to everyone. But when you receive a higher than normal difference of opinion or whatnot, that's a point where you start questioning, okay, what's the level and threshold it takes to react? And so because of the whole God of War coverage and because of the feedback I got doing that campaign, I decided to just talk about it, and I put thought into the nature of content, the nature of bias, the nature of perception of bias, which almost matters more than the bias itself. I don't know if it matters more. I shouldn't say it matters more. Bias, I think, matters more than the perception of bias. But just because you have bias covered, and covered doesn't mean there's no bias. It means just because you're mindful of it and dealing with it, it doesn't mean that the perception of bias is being dealt with. And that's what this video is talking about effectively. But you can check it out if you're interested, or not if you're not. Later on Wednesday, we had a Level Up announcement. Level Up Retreat is going to be back January 31st to February 2nd in Woodridge, New Jersey. Same location as last year. You can check out Wednesday's announcement video for more information. Unfortunately, the early bird tickets are probably done currently if you are checking this now, so we'll see what happens there. But anyways, tickets are still on sale. The early bird, unfortunately, I think ended earlier yesterday. On Thursday we had 3 videos. We had a Mandalorian review going up. We gave it a 3.5 out of 5. Well, it's a mixed review. Meg gave it a 3.75, I believe. I gave it a 3.5. It's one that I really enjoyed The Mandalorian. It's one I definitely want to continue playing through it now and exploring it a bit more. But it's one that I almost certainly will not keep. The theme kept it more interesting to me. The theme kept it more engaging. It's a good production. It's a good gameplay. But it's one that I think once I'm done with seeing it, I'm going to move on from it. Then later on Thursday, we had had a Terrascape review. I enjoyed Terrascape, gave it another 3.5 out of 5. Lots of 3.5s going around, although I did give, what did I give it for? I gave Foundation of Metropolis a 4. But either way, Terrascape I gave it 3.5 out of 5. My first place would have been a 4, but the more I played it, the more I found some of the charm was lost on me. But it is currently rated an 8.4 on Board Game Geek, so I would recommend checking that out, because an 8.4 is a solid score. My opinion will not always align with the majority. Sometimes it'll be higher, sometimes it'll be lower, sometimes it'll be the same. That's the nature of having a reviewer. If your opinion always aligned with the majority, you wouldn't need to follow any reviewer, just follow the majority. Reviewers often will echo your taste, your sentiments. So if you find you align with me, then maybe Terrascape might be a little bit less exciting. Still a good game. I think Terrascape is a fun game. I don't know if it's an essential one for me. Lastly, on Thursday, we had an unboxing for the Elder Scrolls Betrayal of a Second Era. This is diving into a pre-production copy from Chip Theory Games, and that also is my homework assignment for this week. We'll talk about that when we get to the end of the video. On Friday we had a deluxeification video, just going through deluxe games and all of that, in case you want to see the latest batch of deluxe games. And then later on Friday, we had a Where Are They Now? This is a new version of Where Are They Now? We've had a few iterations. This is the third iteration of the Where Are They Now series. Where Are They Now is a look back on prior years of games, and more specifically, how games have held up over time. It is not a majorly new approach to the series, but I did mention that last month was going to be the last approach the way I was doing it. It's a full year of doing it the last way, and now I'm shifting it up a drop. Small changes. I do welcome your feedback as far as, I don't know, your feedback. I welcome your feedback. I always welcome feedback. Well, not always. As long as it's delivered respectfully, I always welcome feedback. That was Friday, which means today. Today we're going to have a few things going up. We should have a Neopets preview or gameplay, one of those things going up. It's going to be a sponsored coverage of Neopets, a trading card game from Upper Deck Entertainment. And we also have an Army of the Dead review, hopefully going up today. But I have to double check my calendar as to what's going where. But I think it's going up today. Anyways, as far as next week we're going to have our last Gen Con video, the last video for pre-Gen Con. I may have coverage of Gen Con itself, but this is our last pre-Gen Con video going up. We'll also have upcoming crowdfunding campaigns for the month of August, as well as a Should You Back It on DC United from Simon Games going up on Tuesday, right before the campaign ends, so you can go ahead and get all the new information, because there's a lot of expansions, a lot of things going on over on that campaign. And that is basically that. As far as the games on the couch, this is basically my homework assignment for the week. A homework assignment I'm excited for and terrified of, because we have the Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era. We have more Primal, not the expansions. I will not be diving into the expansions yet, but I'm going through the campaign currently, and it's all set up over there, so I don't want to grab the current box. So we have Primal I'll be diving into more, and then we have Planto Nubo as well. These are all games I'm trying to cover as fast as I can, because I want to. I want to dive into Betrayal of the Second Era and really get I want to play the game. Primal, I'm trying to get review coverage up before Gen Con. I've already gone through single shots. I'm already partially through the campaign, and trying to see if I can get enough done to get a review for you. And then we have Planto Nubo, which is a game I'm incredibly excited to play, and again, want to have coverage on, although the review for that might be going up later. That's just what I'm just trying to table. In any case, that is basically it. That has been your news and week in review. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.